What's going on with Lincoln Riley? What's going on with USC? Let's have a hard count meeting about it. The issue with USC, the issue with Lincoln Riley, quite frankly, has always been on the defensive side of the football. There was a change made. No longer Alex Grinch being your DC. Went and hired Lynn from UCLA to be your DC. You also made a pretty great hire getting Eric Henderson from the NFL level. Previously defensive line coach for the Rams. Again, he's now going to help on the defensive side of the football to be your co-DC. But here's the deal with this, man. Here's the reason why I haven't been jumping up and down excited about USC when it comes to what they do on the defensive side of the football. We talked a lot about USC last year. And we talked a lot about the players they got last year. Because I love a coaching staff. I think coaching staff is extremely important. But like at the end of the day, man, they're not the ones making the tackles. They're not the ones sitting back there in coverage, making the play on the football. They're not the ones getting that strip sack to end up winning the game. It's a players thing. And for me, for USC, they upped their talent level on the defensive side of the football significantly from 2022 to 2023 and got worse results. Allowed 34 points a game, did USC. They allowed somewhere around 30 points a game in 2022. So we got better players. We got worse results. So those players, I'm sure they're going to try and retool that as well through the portal. That's going to be something they do. But I'm not jumping up and down because we made some acquisitions with the coaching staff. Because again, it's about the Jimmies and the Joes. It's not about the X's and the O's. Those are good hires. But here's where I'm at with USC. Here's where I'm at with Lincoln Riley. I need to see it now. I need to see it. We've talked about it a lot. Everybody knows what the deal is. Defense has to get better. It wasn't good enough last year in the Pac-12. The level of difficulty improves next year as you go to the Big Ten. Like, it's going to be big boy football. It's going to be trenches football. USC has not put anything forward for me to feel confidence that that's going to be better next year from a personnel standpoint. Now, I'd love to sit here in a few months and eat my words and say, hey, I was wrong about USC's defense. I was wrong about those hires. And I'm not telling you the defense is bad. I'm not telling you that the hires are bad. But I am saying until something philosophically changes, I don't know where USC is at. Because that's, I think, the real thing I want to hit on here. The personnel was good last year. I truly believe that. I think Barry Alexander was a great player. I think Anthony Lucas is a great player. I think Jack Sullivan's a great player. Like, I think all those guys can ball by nature of what they were at their previous schools and what we've seen them do on the football field. My concern is how we do things at USC. And what I mean by that is you can have all the talent in the world, but if you don't have the right priorities across the board within your football program, we're not going to get the results that we want to get to. And I'm not speaking to anybody specifically, but I do think that falls on your head coach. Because I think for USC, it's one of those places where you really have to get it. Like, it has to be real buy-in across the board. It has to mean something for you to be a USC Trojan. And those great teams at USC that they've had in the past that won Rose Bowls and that won conference titles and national championships, that's what it was. But there is the major difficulty for a place like USC of having a major city of Los Angeles all around you. Like, I love Ann Arbor, Michigan. I love Columbus, Ohio. I love those schools. But, like, you don't have the same allure to the city as you do at those other schools. And so what I'm trying to say here is the distraction potential is much greater in a place like Los Angeles. And if you're at USC, you can be a USC Trojan football player, and you can do that, or you can do LA. You cannot do both effectively. And after talking to people close to that football program, there is a thought that maybe there wasn't a 100% alignment across the board of what everyone was trying to accomplish. So again, that falls down on whether it's fair or not. I think it falls on your head coach to say, here's how we do things. Here's what we're about. If you're not with it, you got to get out of here. Like, there has to be a total recalibration in my mind of priorities. Now, I want to make sure I say this too. I'm speaking from what I have heard. I'm speaking from the outside looking in. Those conversations may be going on internally at USC as we speak right now. I don't know. But I think the point stands at USC. The issues we're seeing, I truly believe, are philosophical. I don't think it's a personnel thing. I think USC matched up just fine with a lot of those teams across the board last year. Didn't execute, didn't tackle. I didn't see the desire from those teams in those games to make it count, to make it be a thing where it was a pride factor for them. So again, that's me looking in at this thing. I'm seeing philosophical issues. So for Lincoln Riley going forward down to the Big Ten, the uphill climb, the reason why I'm in the need to see it mode is the fact that you lose a Heisman Trophy caliber quarterback in Caleb Williams. Your offense scored 41 points a game, and the team underachieved significantly last year. So you subtract that Heisman Trophy quarterback. I don't think it's a stretch to say the offense may not have that same output. As much as I love Miller Moss, hey, Heis Miller, let's crank that campaign up a little bit. That'd be an awesome t-shirt. I'd be all about that. That'd be a great story. But I don't think it's unreasonable to say, okay, probably better defenses you're playing against next year in the Big Ten. Not as good personnel offensively coming back for you. Offense might take a step back. So defensively, what does that mean? You have to carry more of the load. I love the hires. I don't think they're bad at all. But for me, I'm in need to see it mode before I make any overarching projections on USC. And if I'm I want to make sure I say this too about USC. Like, I grew up going to games in the Coliseum. If there's a team that I'd like to see atop of the college football world or be in that tier 1 competitive space, USC would be one of those teams I'd like to see. Like, it's a place where when it's cooking, man, like, it's a special spot to be at. Being in games in the Coliseum where USC is a top 10 ranked team, there's a real buzz to that program. Like, when you get LA all in on the football at USC in the Coliseum, like, it's got some real juice to it. So for Lincoln Riley, I think the course set before you is, can you create 100% alignment? Can you create a standard that has no compromises, no negotiations, and it is, we are USC football, that's it. If you want to do LA, we appreciate you, but we're not doing that here. This is USC football, and that is what we are. That's our identity. So we'll keep an eye on this. We'll talk about USC going forward here, and I really do hope that USC is able to figure it out and they're able to be in that tier 1 level in the college football world, because that's, I'm maybe a little bit biased, but I think that's fun. I think that's good for college football. Hey, y'all, thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of The Hard Count. Also, be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.